Greetings from Team Loki. The members are Sailaja, Anashua, Niveditha, and me, Rohan. And the paper we'll be presenting today is Hor-Crux. From ancient Hindu demons to science fiction psychoscientists. You know what they all have in common? Yes, they want to be immortal, to live forever till the end of the time. Is it a boon or a bane? I'm sorry we're not here to discuss about that, but we can surely tell you those few intriguing ways to be like Ashwatthama, Resh Talgul, or Thor. Over to my friend Sailaja, who's going to be explaining more about this.
Okay, so though our imagination has no boundaries, but our bodies do as they age and decay over time. Our objective is to find a way to preserve the minds of nearly dying people so that their intellect and consciousness can live forever. And we want to do this by storing the consciousness and transfer into a cadaver that has functional body parts. It's kind of similar to discarding your old laptop when you're moving the data to a newer system when you don't want to use the old one because it's become outdated and unusable. And the way we want to do this is that the physical structure of the brain is thoroughly scanned and modeled accurately enough to imitate the mental state. And you make a copy of it to a computer in a digital form. The computer would then run a simulation of the brain's information processing such that it would respond in the same way as the original brain and have the same conscious as the previous owner. And we found a way to make this process stable enough that none of the physical brains are harmed in the process, and the procedure can be formed without any side effects. Over to Niveditha.
The second experiment that we performed is using cortical stacks. In the recent history, we found some fossilized material that we termed cortical stacks, and it looks very similar to the image that we've shown on the slide here. We speculate that this was left by an extraterrestrial species from Mars that we term elders. When we studied the material of the cortical stack, we discovered that it was very similar to the material speculated to be found on Mars, and we termed it Meraki. So in order to replicate it, we used materials that are found on Earth, like pewter, diamond, obsidian, and jade. And these were meticulously selected so they would mimic the properties of Meraki. The human consciousness is coded and it is stored onto this cortical stack in the form of DHF, digital human fright. This stack is then placed under the medulla oblongata of the human brain, and it performs all the bodily and mind functions of the body. This cortical stack is what we call Hor-Crux. The first trial of this model was done on the chimpanzee species. Now we chose this particular species because the genome very closely resembled that of the human genome. We coded the consciousness of a dying chimpanzee onto the Hor-Crux, and then we implanted it in the dead body of another chimpanzee. This dead body was very carefully chosen so it would resemble the dying chimpanzee in terms of its body odor and other body parts, so as to not inflict a lot of confusion onto the consciousness of the dying chimpanzee. These were some papers that we studied before we conducted our research. The first paper is titled Time, Consciousness and Mind Uploading and was published in the International Journal of Machine Consciousness. So this gives us a brief understanding of how mind uploading works with the help of advanced artificial neural networks. This formed the base for our first experiment. The second paper that we read was Cortical Stacks, The End of Mortality. This was published in the conference Cost Science. This walks us through the process of how the original stack was developed from the Martian material and how it was used for interstellar travel. The drawback of this model was that it could be easily destroyed by blunt force, and this is what we try to tackle in our research. Over to my friend Anashua.
Okay, so let's talk results. We successfully transferred a human's consciousness to a program and uploaded memories with good clarity, and no information was lost. We were able to retain the mind in a functional state for a long time. And then we extended this to develop and test a cortical stack which can hold the consciousness and is compatible with the mammal body, which is the chimpanzee, our test subject. The body came to life and experienced a period of confusion in the beginning as we used a dead chimpanzee, a close relative, but it was not the perfect DNA match. Then things seemed, soon things seemed normal. It seemed to recognize humans it had interacted with before and also respond to the names given to it by his trainers. The stack we have built is durable and can withstand extreme force, which is an extension of the previous work. And multiple copies of the stack can be made as a DHF backup. But if all stacks are destroyed, permanent death is inevitable. Now, let's discuss some of the future work. We would like to extend our research into human testing very soon, the same way we did with chimpanzees. We would first work with a dead human tissue, which is generated naturally from someone who unfortunately died and couldn't be saved. And then we would like to move to an artificial body, which would work like a living body, but the tissue wouldn't be borrowed from scraps of cadavers. Rather, the tissue would be machine generated, and thus we can essentially make someone live forever.
Well, coming to the references, we did refer the Netflix series Alter Carbon, from which we came up with Cortical Stack and Elders. And the PDF we referred was Time, Consciousness, and the Mind Uploading, which is a research paper, of course. And Breaking Down Neural Science of Netflix series, of course, that's the same thing as the Netflix series, the about two things. And then another Wikipedia page is Mind Uploading. So, what do you think? Can a person be immortal and live his life on and on?
On and
And
on
on and on and on and on.
and
And
on.
on and on and
Okay,
on.
guys, please, let's stop. It's a little too cringe, please.
Thank you.